Thank you everyone for inviting me here. I remember the last time I came, not in person, but remotely, together with Professor Jong a few years ago. We were all wearing masks during COVID. And today I'm very honored to be invited to attend this Garden City Seoul International Symposium in person. Thank you for the kind remarks, Mr. Kim, just now you make about Singapore. In fact, Korea is also very popular among Singaporeans. Just now, when I came yesterday on the plane, there was a whole plane load of Singaporeans coming to visit Korea. There are many Korean restaurants in Singapore. There are also many supermarket. When we go to Korean restaurant, we know this army stew. You eat this. I don't know whether you still eat this army stew. So we eat this army stew. That's the one we order. And in return, of course, we also know many Koreans visit Singapore. In fact, I have the good fortune to host your former president, President Moon Jae-in, and his lovely wife. I never forget the experience because the wife was a very warm lady, was wearing your traditional dress to visit my garden. That was some years ago in 2018. I also know next month, a very popular group is visiting Singapore, Blackpink. In fact, they are staying at Marina Bay Sands, next to Gaden's-by-the-Bay. So if any one of you know Jisoo, let her know I'm waiting for her in Gaden's-by-the-Bay. I would just want to point out that Singapore, in case, I hope many people know where Singapore is. We lie in the tropics, which means that our weather is different from most of the Western countries, including Seoul. We enjoy tropical, all year round rain, very hot and very humid. In the early days, we were a British colony. They come to Singapore and they brought back plants, tropical plants, interesting plants, and bring back to their garden in Kew Gardens to showcase. And so I think most people like to see plants not from their country. So in Singapore case, most Singaporeans actually come to Korea to look at your landscape. Just as you say, Gaden's-by-the-Bay is fantastic, but we Singaporeans like to look at plants that we don't commonly see, including your autumn colors. I was hoping this trip I can see your autumn colors, but unfortunately they tell me that now because of climate change, the autumn colors is a bit later. The story of Gaden's-by-the-Bay begins way back. This is our founding Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. He is British educated in Cambridge, and when he came back to form the first government of Singapore, he started a tree planting campaign. This is in 1960s, and he was a very interesting man because at that time, if some of you know history, including, I guess, Korea, the Japanese, we were occupied by the Japanese at World War II. And after the Japanese withdrew and the British ruled us for a while, then we have to have self-government. So at that time, most of the economies, including Korea and Singapore, we are trying to rebuild our economy from the World War. And at that time, there are many pressing issues: water, housing, healthcare, jobs, economy. But this man think a bit differently. He said he wanted a garden city. And today I know the director of Garden City Bureau also just now was here. And he wanted to set up a garden city because he has this idea, after looking at how the British landscape is, to bring it to Singapore. In fact, he loved gardens, that's one. He also hates littering. Of course, you know that if you come to Singapore, we call ourselves a fine country, meaning that we find people. We laugh at it ourselves. We find people if they litter. And because of him, Singapore is today what you see. He planted the first tree in 1963. And just now we talk about involvement. Sometimes the legacy needs to involve the people. So every year, he will bring out all his parliamentarians, members of parliament, and his cabinet minister to plant a tree in November, one day. In fact, he did it without fail every year when he was Prime Minister. And subsequently, after he stepped down to be the senior minister, his successor, Mr. Goh Chok Tong, as well as his son, Mr. Lee Hsien Loh, continues this tradition. So every year we are still planting trees. This is quite interesting because this was 60 years ago. This was before the word environmental sustainability become in fashion. And he thinks very far because he thinks exactly what someone uses. Singapore is a small island with rising sea level. And that time people didn't talk about climate change, but he thinks climate change. And that rising sea level, Singapore will be flooded. And so he wanted to plant trees to soften the climate. And very interestingly, he formed this Parks and Tree branch, which is like your Garden City Bureau. And guess this branch reports to who? It reports to the Prime Minister office. In the early days, he wanted a direct involvement. And he did a few things. If you land at our Changi Airport and going into the city, you'll see this majestic rain tree on our landscape. When I was younger, I need to measure exactly 20 meters. We plant one tree, and then we continue planting the trees. Those were the days before we talk about biodiversity. So these were monospecies planting. But he was trying to use this planting to do what? He was trying to impress the investors. Because in the 70s, I think Korea, like us, were one of the 4 tigers at that time. He was trying to investors because in his mind, the investors coming from Changi Airport, going into the city, and they can see the trees planted neatly and well maintained, then the investors will think to themselves that if this country can take care of the trees, they can take care of my money. So that was his thinking. But that was not his only thinking. He was also thinking for the people. Along the way, he doesn't like this concrete wall. He doesn't like concrete wall. So if you go to Singapore, you know probably we are the only country that on our overhead bridges and our flyover, we have planting trough that plant bougainvilleas over it to cover it. And then along the way, when it was fully planted, we wanted to go skywards. So this building here is on top, like what Andrew was showing earlier on, the hotel. And then in the 2000s, environmental sustainability become more in fashion. This is actually a bridge, but this is not an ordinary bridge for human beings. It's a bridge for animals, because in the early days, in the central part of Singapore, because of economic development, we have an expressway that goes straight up and divided up the central reserve. We have a central reserve into 2 areas. So the biologists will tell you that if they are divided, sooner or later the genetic pool will disappear because there's no cross-fertilization so this bridge was actually built for pollinators and animals to cross. And then I just want to talk about this bird that you see here. This is an oriental pipe hornbill. It was extinct because Singapore was rapidly urbanizing. So many of the wildlife disappeared. But it came back. Recently. And this is a map of Singapore. Singapore is a small little island. And the map shows that this shows a satellite picture of the green cover of trees covering Singapore. And so you can see that despite more buildings over the last 20 years, from 1986 to 2024, there were more buildings in Singapore. But actually the green in Singapore has increased. And so what the point is that many of these wildlife, including the bird that I show you, which is a big showy bird, is now breeding in wild in some of the northern parts of Singapore because the habitat has changed. And so the Garden City, through almost 60 years of intensified greenery, has shown result, even from the biodiversity point of view. Of course, I now come to Gaden's-by-the-Bay, the story. Dr. Kiet Tan is the first CEO of Gaden's-by-the-Bay. I'm the second. I think Andrew made reference to it just now. He has been involved in the Garden City planning of Singapore. From Garden City, and then you have heard the other term called City in the Garden, meaning that the whole country is a garden and the city sits on it. Then later on into City in Nature. And Dr. Tan has been very much involved in the last 30, 40 years with it. And he was due to retire at that time. That was early 2000s. And the government said that why don't, before you retire, you build a second garden. And so there was what Andrew talked about. There was an international design competition, and a piece of land in downtown Singapore, very precious, which is actually reclaimed land. And if you've been to Gaden's-by-the-Bay, which some of you have, I hope you know that actually 60 years ago it was seawater. So they reclaimed the land, and this is where it is, southern part of Singapore. They reclaimed this land, and this is actually the reclaimed land, and they decided to set aside one-fifth of this land to build Gaden's-by-the-Bay. And this happened in the early 2000s. If you remember, in the early 2000s, there was another pandemic. I'm not sure whether Korea was affected, but Singapore was affected quite badly. This is not COVID, this is the SARS. And the SARS brought the economy downhill quite a fair bit. And the country was trying to regain its footing, which is why the first decision the Singapore government made was to allow a casino. You know, the Marina Bay Sands, which some of you stay, Mr. Kim, you stay there. Well, it's actually underneath is a casino. And of course, Mr. Lee famously also said in his book, over my dead body, I allow gambling. Because we Chinese love to gamble. So he didn't quite like that. But I think the Americans, Marina Bay Sands, convinced him that this is not a gambling den. This is an integrated resort. And so because it's an integrated resort, it will help provide some jobs. And so I think at that time, they agreed to have the first tenant of this reclaimed land, which I didn't take the picture. I took this picture from Marina Bay Sands. And that was the first tenant of the reclaimed land. But Mr. Lee is also a very wise man. He wanted to make sure, I think, he didn't say this, but he wanted to make sure that our 60 years of Garden City didn't go to waste. So he asked Dr. Tan to plan, based on all the principles of Garden City, to plan a next garden. And so the result was Gaden's-by-the-Bay. And Gaden's-by-the-Bay, the idea was to you've been there are two giant conservatories. Just now we talked about it. One of them is Flower Dome, where we see plants from temperate countries. We also, of course, use the gardens to educate our people. You know, Singapore is four major races. Chinese, the dominant race. We have the Malay, which is the indigenous people, and the Indians, who are also immigrant, and of course some Caucasians who stay behind after the British rule. So we use the garden to teach our young people on the different races coming together. This is in the outdoor part. We also use the garden to educate our young people. And through Andrew's good design, we have the World of Palms, which currently holds the largest palm collection in the world. We also use it this is of course baobab trees. The thorns are very vicious to protect plants, and so we use some of these stories to teach young people to it. But of course, a lot of people are not aware of this because this is in the outdoor gardens. Most people go to Gaden's-by-the-Bay is to visit the Flower Dome, which is make us famous. In fact, you may not know, when Mr. Lee agreed to build the Gaden's-by-the-Bay at a cost of 1.3 billion Singapore dollars, which is about maybe 1 billion US dollar, a lot of money. It was not meant for tourists. Of course, today the tourists go, but actually the gardens was actually meant for Singaporeans, which is why in the gardens we do a display change every 2 months. This display is one Mediterranean display. We change it, and sometimes you go there, you have a Chinese New Year display, sometimes it's a sakura, sometimes we have tulips. We change it because the Singaporeans love to go inside Flower Dome. They like to see different flowers. And of course, I know to the foreigners coming in, these plants are common to you. Because if in fact it is built for a tourist, I do not need to change the plants because they will come in and take a picture. It doesn't matter. So this was built for Singaporeans. This is, of course, our favorite tulip show. When the first tulip show happened in Singapore, the queue going in was 2 hours, waiting to go inside it. Why? Because to you it's quite common, but to Singaporeans, they have never seen tulips grown in a tropical place, in an air-conditioned tropical place. So the flower dome allow us to exhibit plants that people, Singaporeans, do not commonly see. And this is a favorite haunt of Singaporeans during the weekends. The cloud forest. The cloud forest is actually, if you Google, is the #1 on TripAdvisor in Singapore. And this is where foreigners like yourself find it very fascinating, especially people who love plants. This exhibition of this biome is to showcase plants from the tropical montane region, which is on the highlands, and how they grow. And so the idea is to go up in Singapore we don't have mountains, unlike Korea. And so Singaporeans love to see. This is the tallest man-made waterfall. Singapore, we are very small. We like to say it's the tallest, but actually it's only 10-story high. But Singaporeans love to be proud of it. And this is a waterfall, which many of you, if you have been there, will know this greet you when you go into cloud forest. Of course, the super trees. The super trees has now become an icon for Singapore on sustainability. There are 18 of them. It was started, in fact, Mr. Lee and some of the cabinet ministers wasn't sure at that time whether to allow the super trees or not, because they feel that this is a bit artificial. In fact, if you Google, and the early days, there were many criticism, sorry Andrew, of your work in the early days, to say that this is very gimmicky. Why can't we have real trees? But we are thankful that decision to allow the super trees, because today they make us famous. And there are movies, some of you may have watched Crazy Rich Asian. They make us famous, and today about 5,000. Mr. Kim, I hope the next time you come, you will not, you could call me, you will not miss the show. We'll make sure you don't miss the show, because the show attracts about 5,000 to 10,000 people every night. Just now, he said that he's very thankful it is free. Actually, my regret is that it is free. If I have start asking everyone to pay, I'll be a millionaire today. But today is free. It's provided because Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's vision was to allow people to come for free. This is my visitorship, which is quite amazing. In the first year, it was mainly Singaporean. In 2012, when we opened, we have about 2 million visitors. Every year, it has been growing by 2 million each year. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Then COVID came. That was also the year I became CEO. And I don't know whether I did anything wrong, but COVID came, and suddenly the visitorship dropped because the borders were closed. But now we are back, thankfully, and we continue this journey of attracting people. We talk about biophilic design. Gaden's-by-the-Bay, built 15 years ago, was built on sustainability principles. Because I think the founding fathers at that time think that there will come a day where the young people will think that sustainability is very important. So, for example, our aircon doesn't take electricity from the grid. We actually have a biomass. We have our own biomass where we convert the horticultural waste into energy to power it. And of course, the whole garden is covered with solar panels. We also, this is reclaimed land. So 60 years ago, there was nothing. So when we built this garden, we were hoping that wildlife can come back. And today, actually, there are more biodiversity in birds in terms of survey of bird population than when we first started. We talk about involving people. We have a strong volunteer program, partly because also nowadays it's not easy to find horticulturalists to work. And just now, yesterday I was talking to Professor Yong that hopefully he can send some students over, because we need the horticulture students. In Singapore, we don't have horticulture university because we are not agriculture. So we also rely a lot on volunteers to help us. We also do many outreach programs to spread the message. You see, Gaden's-by-the-Bay is a different garden. Just now you talked about the role of botanic gardens. When Dr. Tan created Gardens by the Bay, we already have the Singapore Botanic Gardens, which is traditional taxonomy, botany, and education. Here, this is a different garden, but with the same mission. This is a show garden, meaning that we want to attract people who are not interested in plants to come and visit, and hopefully they become a journey of green. So we have a lot of species inside there, but we don't talk so much about it, but because our focus is on trying to attract people to come first. That's why we have this. This is my marketing brochures. We do 9 or 10 shows. We partner with many countries, including Korea, which I talk about it later. We partner with Japan to do sakura, with Netherlands to do tulip, with Italy to do lilies. And it's a win-win. The embassies like to do it because it helps to attract Singaporeans to visit their country, and at the same time Singaporeans can see different things. Our core business, we are not a theme park. Our core business is still in horticulture. So I have a team of horticultural research department. I wish I could have more, but because we'll talk about it later, we are a company, so we are quite sure. Our expertise is in trying to grow plants both in the hot climate as well as a cool climate. The orchid that you see here, this is a special breed where we breeded a warm orchid from the hot region and a cold region to breed together so that this orchid can survive in a range of conditions. And these are some of the research we do. We have a series of events because this is a people's garden. We have 15 million visitors. So every month almost we have something coinciding with, for example, our National Day, Christmas, Chinese New Year. So we have different festivals to attract Singaporeans to come again and again. And because this is a Korean audience, we are grateful to the Republic of Korea. Every year, you celebrate your Chuseok. I was told it's a coincide with the same time, just last month, with our Mid-Autumn. So we have been partnering with the Korean Embassy, and every year you have this lantern that is made of hanji paper. I think it's the bark of this mulberry tree that you use a special kind, and it's always attract lots of visitors. And you come August, your K-drama songs will be played in Super Tree area because Singaporeans also watch K-drama and they are big fans of it. So a different exhibition for the last 6 years. This year is a special year because this year is actually 50 years of friendship between Singapore and Korea. And I was told that this special lantern set was a gift because on the left is our Malayan, and on the right is your this creature called Hate. Am I correct? This is your creature, and we are very honored that they are side by side in our super tree. Just finished, the exhibition just finished, and these are some. And then every year you have performers coming to perform at our festival, and Singaporeans love it. Some of you visited Gardens by the Bay. You know I also do theme park things. Why? Because just now I did not explain to you. When Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, before he passed away, he made one decision after setting up Gardens by the Bay. He made sure that Gardens by the Bay is not a public agency. We were born our National Parks Board, but he said no, because he feels, jokingly, that government agency, every year you ask for money. So you be a company. So from day one, all my 300 staff, they are private company employees. The only person who is a government is the CEO, because they want to hold me by the neck and make sure that I listen to them. And because we are a company, we are quite particular about things we do, and which is why some of you ask why we do so many things. Because we are a company, we need people to come and come again. In fact, I did Avatar show. I think 2 years ago. A lot of people like it actually. It earned me a lot of money because the avatar against the cloud forest was just stunning. But there are some people who are traditional botanists. They hate it. I get also complaint letters that I have betrayed my horticulture by putting these Walt Disney things into Gaden's-by-the-Bay. But I think it is a balance. I don't do it often. I do it sometimes. In fact, I'm quite selective. Currently, if you go, there's Jurassic, and there's also a trail to talk about the evolution of plants. So it must be plant related. In fact, Harry Potter wants to show in my garden. Because everybody wants to show in the garden because, as you know, it's also commercial. Because I have 15 million people, so they know where to earn money. But I say no, because Harry Potter, I think Harry Potter and garden, I don't see how it's connected. So we are also quite careful because we are mission-based and we want to only promote our love for nature and gardening. I mean, that's what we try to do. We do many cultural things which are more garden-like. This is the Dale Chihuly. I think you go to America, you will see it, and I think it is quite fantastic. We did it during COVID when people cannot travel. We just hold the United Buddy Bears. We are now also moving into this area of immersive technology. I think we're using projection and lights and theater. And so this is something we are doing. I will just race through this quickly. This talks about technology. Because we are a company, we are constantly trying to save costs. Cost to us is quite important. And so during COVID, we suddenly discovered that we cannot get our people into work. There was a time where they only allowed 10 people to go into the gardens because of the I don't know whether you have a lockdown, but in Singapore we have what we call a restricted movement for a period of time. So we discovered that actually a lot of processes are very manual, watering and all that. So we decided to automate a lot of processes. We call it the Smart Garden project. And so we invest some money, and then there are many projects. So now even the rubbish bin in Gaden's-by-the-Bay is with a sensor. So once the rubbish is full, then the people come and collect it. And this is one example. The greenhouses that we have are all fully automated. We use it to try to optimize the energy usage to make sure that things are optimized. And this is some of the other technologies we use. This one is actually a tree tilt sensor. We put it on all our mature trees. So when in Singapore we have heavy storm, and so the tree failure is quite problematic. So we put it to make sure that the trees don't fail. We also use drones now to water our super trees. And they fly up to water super trees, and the tourists like it. And then, of course, the other thing is that, like in Korea, we make use of robots, and we have sensors to detect how many visitors and where are the areas of hotspot. I'm just going to flash through. Currently, my number one problem is too many people. Because people queue up, sometimes the traffic is crazy. People are queuing up and all that. And also many gardens are now also doing the same thing as us. So we are trying to innovate. We are now building the second garden. If you go there, you see across the bay, this is the Founders Memorial Garden after Mr. Lee Kuan Yew and his founding generation. And this is just some pictures. I'm just going to flash it. This is the Founders Memorial. It will be completed in 2028. I hope you'll come and visit when it's ready. It's like the Lincoln Memorial, and talks about the founding fathers, their vision of Singapore, and there's a nice lookout point. In Singapore, we don't have hills like in Korea. So Singaporeans love to create hills just to make ourselves less flat. And this is a first floating bridge. Because I think our forefathers, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, walked on water like a miracle to deliver Singapore. So we are trying to tell a story. Finally, I just want to end with this slide. This is, of course, olive. In olive, of course, in colder parts is quite common. In Singapore, it is not. And so when this tree flowered and fruited, there was a big sensation in Singapore. And this olive is wind pollinated. It's inside my flower dome. But if you go to flower dome, there's no wind. So my people has to actually every morning bring fan to blow to make wind. In a way, I end with this because it tells the Singapore story. Unlike Korea, we don't have anything, no natural resources. So we have to use our small brain to make a living. And with that, I thank you so much for your patient audience. Time exactly end. Thank you.